Are you the marrying type? It's a simple question, yet one that carries layers of meaning, timing, and truth. When Common was asked whether he saw himself as someone capable of marriage, his answer sounded thoughtful, reflective, even hopeful. He spoke about growth, self-work, and finally reaching a place where he believed he could be that man. A man ready for commitment. A man who would know when the time was right. And for a moment, it sounded like that time might be now. Because when love is in the air, the world watches closely. But when tension enters the picture, that's when things become truly interesting. Jennifer Hudson and Common have been one of Hollywood's most talked about couples, admired for their maturity, mutual respect, and seemingly genuine connection. They weren't flashy, they didn't overshare. Instead, they appeared grounded, calm, and deeply supportive of one another. At least that's how it seemed. Until February 16, 2025. The NBA All-Star Game was supposed to be just another public outing. Courtside seats, bright lights, celebrity energy, effing out of the ordinary. But the moment the camera landed on Jennifer Hudson and Common, the internet sensed something was off. Very off. Jennifer didn't smile. She didn't laugh. She didn't lean in. Instead, her expression remained serious, distant, almost closed off. Meanwhile, Common appeared engaged, trying to talk, occasionally smiling, attempting to keep the moment light. But the energy between them felt uneven, like to people on completely different wavelengths. Fans noticed immediately. This wasn't the couple they were used to seeing. Normally, Jennifer and Common radiated ease. They held hands. They shared inside jokes. Their chemistry felt natural, unforced, and warm. But this time, it was as if an invisible wall sat between them. Even though they were seated side by side, emotionally, they looked miles apart. Jennifer barely nodded as Common spoke. She avoided prolonged eye contact. Her body subtly shifted away, again and again. It was quiet but loud enough for millions to pick up on. And when Common finally reached for his drink, instead of trying to re-engage her, fans took that as confirmation. Something wasn't right. What made the moment even more intriguing was how sharply it contrasted with their last NBA appearance together just weeks earlier in January. Back then, the vibe was completely different. They laughed, whispered. Jennifer leaned toward Common, even resting close to his shoulder. So what changed in such a short time? That single question turned social media into a full-blown courtroom. Within minutes, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were flooded with reactions. Clips were replayed, screenshots were analyzed. Body language experts suddenly emerged from nowhere. One Twitter user joked, "Jennifer is giving I should have stayed home energy." Another wrote, "That's the I told you I didn't. Wanna come look?" Of course, not everyone believed there was trouble. Some fans defended Jennifer, pointing out that she naturally has a serious expression when she's focused. Not every woman is going to sit there smiling 24/7. One user posted, "Maybe she was just tired." But then the conversation shifted deeper. People began looking beyond the moment and straight into Common's relationship history. Because while Common is respected, talented, and emotionally intelligent, there's one pattern fans can't ignore. His relationships don't last. Serena Williams, Erykah Badu, Taraji P. Henson, Angela Rye, Tiffany Haddish, all successful, all powerful, all deeply admired women. And yet none of those relationships ended in marriage. That raised an uncomfortable question. Is Jennifer Hudson just the next name on the list? When asked directly about his connection with Jennifer, Common has always spoken with admiration. He's called her inspiring, beautiful, and one of the most incredible human beings he's ever met. His words are always kind, respectful, and sincere. But words, as fans are beginning to point out, have never been the issue. Commitment is Common is no stranger to high-profile love stories. His relationship with Serena Williams in the late 2000s was iconic. They attended events together, supported each other's careers, and seemed genuinely connected. But when it came time to take the next step, Common admitted he wasn't ready. Serena eventually moved on, got married, built a family. Common kept dating. Then there was Erykah Badu's relationship that left a deep mark on him. He's openly spoken about how heartbroken he was after their breakup, even revealing that he sought therapy afterward. Their bond was intense, spiritual, and transformative, yet still, it never reached lifelong commitment. With Taraji P. Henson, things burned fast and faded just as quickly. Taraji later made it clear that she wasn't willing to settle for uncertainty. She wanted something solid, something real. And then came Tiffany Haddish. That relationship had fans convinced Common had finally found the one. Tiffany was openly in love, supportive, and vocal about her feelings. They looked happy, playful, aligned until it ended suddenly and quietly. Later, Tiffany hinted that Common wasn't serious about settling down. That single comment reignited every conversation about his dating patterns. So now, with Jennifer Hudson, fans are watching closely, because Jennifer is not just anyone. She is a powerhouse, a Grammy winner, an Oscar winner, Tony winner, an Emmy winner. An EGOT. Jennifer Hudson knows her worth. She's worked too hard, lost too much, and grown too deeply to settle for uncertainty. Her past relationship with David Otunga and Lily, a decade-long engagement that never led to marriage, taught her hard lessons. Their breakup was messy, public, and painful. Since then, Jennifer has rebuilt her life on her own terms, her career, her son, her personal growth. She doesn't need love. She chooses it, which is why her dynamic with Common has always felt so meaningful. But now fans are asking, does she want marriage again? And if she does, is Common truly the man to give her that? Because while Jennifer seems clear about what she wants, Common's history suggests hesitation when things get too real. And that brings us back to that NBA All-Star Game moment: quiet, tense, and impossible to ignore. Was it just a bad night? Or the first visible crack in a relationship that may already be shifting behind the scenes? When Common went on The Breakfast Club and said, "If I get married, it would be to Jennifer," the internet exploded. Fans heard hope in his voice. They heard certainty. For many, it sounded like the clearest sign yet that Common was finally ready to settle down. But words have a way of sounding bigger than the actions that follow them. What many people overlooked was the subtle but critical difference in what Common actually said. He didn't say he was going to marry Jennifer. Said if he were to get married, it would be to her. That if carried more weight than it seemed at the time. At first, it felt romantic, felt honest. But looking back now, especially after that tense NBA All-Star Game, fans are starting to question whether that statement was a promise or simply a moment. Common has always been thoughtful with his words. He speaks like someone who has spent years reflecting, healing, and searching for balance. He often talks about growth, spirituality, and letting God guide his path. And when he speaks about Jennifer, his admiration sounds genuine. He said that seeing her happy makes him happy, that their relationship feels peaceful, that he's grateful every day. But here's the uncomfortable truth. He's said similar things before. When Common was dating Tiffany Haddish, he praised her in interviews, calling her wonderful, talented, and supportive. He spoke about their strong bond and the joy they brought into each other's lives. At the time, fans were convinced marriage was coming. It never did. That's why, for some people, Common's words about Jennifer started to feel familiar. Comforting but incomplete. Jennifer, on the other hand, has never been one to overshare. When it comes to her personal life, she doesn't rush into public declarations. She doesn't play into rumors. And she certainly doesn't confirm engagement speculation just because people expect it. When Common made that marriage comment, Jennifer stayed quiet. She didn't deny it. She didn't confirm it. She simply continued living her life to some fans. That silence spoke volumes. After everything Jennifer has been through, her rise to fame, her long engagement to David Otunga, and the painful legal battles that followed. She's careful. She knows what empty promises look like. She knows what it means to wait for something that never comes. And that's why people are starting to wonder, did Jennifer expect more than just words? Because when a man publicly hints at marriage, especially at their age and stage in life, it's natural to expect some kind of follow-through, a ring, a clear plan, a step forward. But months passed, no engagement, no announcement, no visible shift toward the next level. Instead, what the public saw was distance. The NBA All-Star Game moment didn't feel random to many fans. It felt like the result of something unresolved, like tension that had been building quietly behind closed doors. Jennifer's energy that night wasn't angry. It wasn't dramatic, it was distant, and distance often comes when someone starts emotionally pulling back. What made things even more concerning was the noticeable change in their social media presence. Jennifer and Common used to publicly support each other birthday posts, encouraging comments, shared appearances. Lately, almost nothing. In today's world where celebrity couples often document every milestone, a sudden silence doesn't go unnoticed. Fans started asking questions. Was this intentional privacy or a sign of something cooling off? Those familiar with Common's past relationships noticed a pattern. At the beginning, everything feels strong. There's admiration, public support, chemistry. Over time, the posts slow down. Appearances become less frequent. The warmth fades, not then. Eventually, there's a quiet breakup. No scandal. No drama. Just a statement about mutual respect and moving in different directions. That's exactly how things ended with Tiffany Haddish. At first, they looked solid. Then the public moments decreased. Then the love disappeared from social media. And before anyone could catch up, it was over. So now fans are watching Jennifer and Common with heightened awareness. Is this relationship still thriving? Or are we witnessing the beginning of the end? Jennifer Hudson is not someone who stays where she feels uncertain. She has built a life of stability and self-respect. She doesn't chase love, she chooses it. And when something no longer aligns with her emotional needs, she doesn't force it. That's why her behavior at the NBA game struck such a nerve. She wasn't trying to perform happiness. She wasn't pretending everything was fine. She was simply being real. Some fans believe Jennifer may be reaching a crossroads. She wants long-term commitment. Common isn't ready to give that. Then the relationship may already be losing its foundation. Others argue that we're reading too much into a single moment. That couples have off days. That one awkward public appearance doesn't erase everything they've built. And that may be true. But when you place that moment alongside Common's history, the lack of forward movement and the fading public affectionate starts to feel less like coincidence and more like a pattern repeating itself. Still, neither Jennifer nor Common has addressed the rumors. No interviews, no statements, no clarifications. And sometimes silence is intentional. It gives space, it buys time, it allows decisions to be made privately. The question now is whether that silence leads to clarity or closure. Will Common finally take that next step he's spoken about for years? Or will Jennifer decide she's done waiting for potential to turn into action? Because one thing is certain, Jennifer Hudson knows her worth. And if history has taught fans anything, it's that she won't stay in a situation that doesn't fully serve her future. And as the public continues to watch, analyze, and speculate, one thing becomes clear. This relationship is at a turning point. Celebrity relationships are a delicate balance between private emotion and public perception. For Jennifer Hudson and Common, the spotlight has never been optional. Every gesture, every smile, every appearance is scrutinized, dissected, and debated online. And in today's social media-driven world, a single moment can ignite speculation that spreads faster than wildfire. That tense moment at the NBA All-Star Game was a perfect example. While the cameras caught a distant Jennifer and a seemingly overcompensating Common, the public didn't just see two individuals, they saw a story unfolding. A story that, whether accurate or imagined, captivated millions. Fans, commentators, and casual observers began piecing together their past behavior. Public statements and social media activity. Clips were analyzed frame by frame, captions dissected. Word by word and body language experts weighed in on the nuances of a head tilt, a subtle lean, or a brief pause in eye contact. Suddenly, every minor action became a clue. Every glance a potential revelation. The conversation quickly shifted from curiosity to speculation. Why was Jennifer so distant? Was this a sign that something was wrong? Or was it simply an off night, a fleeting lapse in public composure? In the court of public opinion, there were no easy answers. For some fans, the answer seemed obvious. They recalled Common's history with high-profile relationships and the pattern of gradual emotional withdrawal. From Serena Williams to Tiffany, Haddish Common's romances have often begun with public excitement and ended quietly, without scandal but with heartbreak. Parallels, they argued, were striking. Others defended Jennifer, emphasizing her natural intensity and focus. She's known to carry herself with a certain seriousness that doesn't always translate as warmth to cameras. They suggested that reading too much into a single public moment risked misunderstanding her personality. But the tension between perception and reality is exactly what makes celebrity relationships so fascinating and so difficult. Jennifer and Common's situation exemplifies this tension. The world sees them side by side, expecting visible chemistry. But chemistry alone doesn't tell the whole story. Commitment, timing, emotional readiness, these are elements that cameras cannot capture. Jennifer's personal history adds additional layers of complexity. Her decade-long engagement to David Otunga, which included highs, lows, and public scrutiny, left her cautious. Their split involved legal battles over custody and allegations that dominated headlines. Through it all, Jennifer maintained her dignity, focusing on raising her son and advancing her career. She emerged stronger, more independent, and profoundly aware of her worth. This past experience has inevitably influenced how Jennifer approaches relationships now. She doesn't need someone to complete her life. She chooses someone to complement it. Her connection with Common may be rooted in mutual admiration and genuine affection, but the question remains, are their long-term goals aligned? Meanwhile, Common, as talented and thoughtful as he is, carries his own history of love and heartbreak. He's a man who has openly reflected on his past, spoken about growth, and acknowledged lessons learned from previous relationships. Yet, a pattern persists. Initial intensity, public praise, and eventual withdrawal before true commitment is reached. The tension between Jennifer's readiness and Common's hesitation is at the heart of current speculation. Fans watch closely, trying to predict whether this relationship will follow the familiar pattern or break it. And in many ways, the NBA All-Star Game moment crystallized that tension. Jennifer's behavior that night wasn't overtly negative. She wasn't argumentative or visibly upset. But her seriousness, lack of engagement, and subtle avoidance suggested distance. Meanwhile, Common's attempts to maintain conversation and appear connected created a visible imbalance. This disparity amplified public curiosity, as the energy between them seemed off compared to previous appearances. Social media naturally became the magnifying glass. Every gesture, post, or absence of interaction was noted. Comparisons to prior NBA appearances, shared vacation photos, and public shout-outs highlighted a noticeable shift in dynamics. What once appeared effortless now felt strained. This raises a broader question about the challenges of modern celebrity relationships. Much of their reality is performative, and how much is authentic? Public appearances are curated. Social media feeds are controlled. What fans see is often only a fragment of a much larger, private reality. In the case of Jennifer and Common, This curated public image has always been part of their story. They have maintained a relatively low-profile relationship, opting to share selective glimpses rather than every intimate moment. That discretion has protected them in some ways, but it has also fueled speculation when small cracks appear. For Common, words have always carried significance, but actions carry weight. Saying he could see himself marrying Jennifer was powerful, but it lacked immediate follow-through. Fans, aware of past patterns, naturally questioned whether this statement would translate into tangible steps toward commitment. Jennifer, by contrast, communicates through action rather than declaration. Her history demonstrates that she invests in what aligns with her life and values. Her approach to love is deliberate, cautious, and grounded in self-respect. If she perceives uncertainty, she is unlikely to compromise her standards. And so the narrative unfolds. The public sees tension. The couple maintains discretion, and fans attempt to read between the lines. Every appearance, post, or silence becomes material for discussion. Every nuance matters. And in the world of celebrity relationships, perception can often overshadow reality. Yet, despite the scrutiny, both Jennifer and Common appear committed to navigating their relationship on their own terms. Public speculation may be intense, but they are under no obligation to respond immediately. Their challenge is to balance personal authenticity with public visibility, difficult task in a culture that thrives on instant interpretation and judgment. As the story continues, the NBA All-Star Game moment remains a focal point for analysis. It represents a snapshot of tension, a reminder that even strong relationships face moments of strain. But it also highlights the complexity of love, growth, and timing. For Jennifer and Common, the journey is far from simple. Their past experiences, personal values, and public scrutiny converge in ways that make the outcome unpredictable. Fans will continue to watch. Social media will continue to buzz. But ultimately, the private decisions made by Jennifer and Common will determine the trajectory of their relationship, not public opinion. That reality, as difficult as it is for observers to accept, underscores the human element behind celebrity stories. Love is complicated, timing is crucial, and not every connection fits neatly into a narrative the world expects. In the next chapters of this story, attention will likely shift to signs of alignment or divergence, gestures of support, shared projects, moments of affection, or the absence thereof. Observers will look for clues, compare patterns, and speculate endlessly. But beneath it all, the true measure of the relationship rests on communication, mutual understanding, and readiness for commitment, elements that only Jennifer and Common can fully navigate. To understand the tension between Jennifer Hudson and Common, it's essential to look back at Common's past relationships not as gossip, but as a lens through which fans try to predict patterns. While every connection is unique, history often offers insights. Serena Williams was one of the earliest high-profile relationships that caught the public's attention. Their connection seemed effortless. Public appearances radiated energy. Mutual admiration was evident, and there was a sense of partnership beyond the spotlight. But when it came time to consider long-term commitment, Common admitted that he wasn't ready. The relationship ended amicably, with Serena eventually building a family and moving forward. Common, meanwhile, remained single for a time, exploring connections that didn't immediately lead to marriage. Then came Erykah Badu, a relationship that marked a deeper emotional journey for Common. Fans often describe Erykah as spiritually influential, a partner who inspires introspection and growth. Common openly admitted that their breakup left him heartbroken, leading him to seek therapy and reflect on his emotional patterns. Despite the intensity and depth of their bond, lifelong commitment was never reached. Next was Taraji P. Henson, whose romance with Common was intense but brief. Taraji made it clear she sought something serious and stable. The relationship's end reflected a divergence in readiness. Common's hesitancy clashed with Taraja's expectations, illustrating a recurring theme: initial connection, followed by cautious withdrawal when long-term commitment is on the table. Tiffany Haddish's relationship with Common seemed promising to fans. Their chemistry appeared playful and supportive, with shared humor and mutual respect. Yet even in this seemingly perfect pairing, the relationship ended quietly. Tiffany later suggested that Common wasn't ready for the next level, reinforcing public perception of a pattern in his romantic life. Words of admiration without decisive commitment. This historical context is critical in examining Common's relationship with Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer isn't just another name on the list. She's an EGOT winner, a powerhouse who has achieved success in music, film, and theater. She knows her worth, and she has already weathered public scrutiny and personal heartbreak. If anyone is capable of recognizing red flags and establishing boundaries, it is Jennifer. Her history with David Otunga demonstrates this. Their engagement lasted nearly a decade, marked by highs and lows, legal battles, and eventual separation. Despite sharing a child, Jennifer moved forward with a focus on her personal growth and independence. She emerged resilient, demonstrating that she prioritizes self-respect and long-term stability over fleeting romance. When Common publicly discussed the possibility of marrying Jennifer, it sparked hope and speculation. Yet for those familiar with his pattern, there was a cautionary note: admiration alone does not equal commitment. Fans began to watch for actions that would match the words, waiting for steps that signaled readiness for long-term partnership. The NBA All-Star Game in February 2025 served as a focal point for this speculation. Jennifer's serious demeanor contrasted with Common's efforts to maintain connection, prompting public analysis of every glance, gesture, and movement. Observers noted how Jennifer avoided prolonged eye contact, subtly shifted in her seat, and kept her expressions minimal. Meanwhile, Common leaned in, smiled occasionally, and attempted to sustain conversation. This imbalance captured attention because it highlighted a potential gap between emotional engagement and public expectation. Jennifer's energy suggested caution, while Common's efforts reflected optimism. The resulting tension provided fans a rare glimpse into the private dynamics of a high-profile relationship. Social media amplified the moment. Clips of the NBA appearance circulated rapidly, sparking commentary, memes, and debates. Some argued that Jennifer's demeanor was simply a reflection of fatigue or natural seriousness. Others pointed to Common's history, suggesting the scene was indicative of relational strain. The online discussion blended fact, observation, and speculation, creating a complex narrative beyond the couple's immediate awareness. The underlying issue, according to relationship experts and observers, is alignment. For any couple, public admiration, chemistry, and mutual respect are foundational, but they are not sufficient for long-term commitment. Alignment in goals, readiness for marriage, and emotional availability are critical. In the case of Jennifer, and Common, questions linger. Is Common fully ready to commit? Does Jennifer see tangible steps toward a shared future? Are they navigating challenges privately, or are tensions silently influencing the public dynamic? The subtle signs observed at the NBA All-Star Game suggest that, at least in that moment, alignment was imperfect. Yet it's also important to recognize that one event does not define a relationship. Couples experience fluctuations in mood, attention, and energy. External stressors, schedules, and public scrutiny all play a role in shaping behavior during high-profile events. Nonetheless, patterns matter. Jennifer's history demonstrates careful evaluation of relationships. She invests only when she perceives long-term compatibility. Common's history demonstrates both admiration and hesitation, a combination that has repeatedly led to delayed commitment. The intersection of these histories creates a delicate balancing act, one that requires deliberate communication, mutual understanding, and trust. Furthermore, Jennifer's focus on her personal growth and independence means she is less likely to tolerate ambiguity. She has already demonstrated resilience in the face of public scrutiny and personal challenges. Her priorities: stability, respect, and emotional fulfillment will guide her decisions regarding the relationship. Common's challenge then is to match words with action. Public declarations of admiration must be paired with concrete steps that reflect readiness for commitment. Otherwise, patterns from the past are likely to influence perceptions. Regardless of private intentions, the public remains fascinated by these dynamics. Jennifer and Common, by virtue of their talent, success, and visibility, attract attention that goes beyond ordinary relationships. Every appearance, interview, and social media post is scrutinized. Each subtle shift in energy becomes material for analysis, discussion, and speculation. In this environment, even minor tension can be magnified. Fans may interpret a neutral gesture as disinterest, a thoughtful pause as distance, or a serious expression as dissatisfaction. While some interpretations are accurate, others reflect the human tendency to project narrative onto observed behavior. Ultimately, Jennifer Hudson and Common face the same fundamental questions that any couple encounters, albeit under far more intense scrutiny. Are they aligned in values, goals, and readiness for commitment? Can they communicate openly to address challenges and tensions? Are their actions consistent with their intentions? The next chapter of this story will examine the evolving dynamics between them, moments of connection, subtle shifts in energy, and how both navigate public scrutiny while maintaining personal authenticity.